Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Victorian era. As I promised, the Victorian era ranges between the 1700s to 1901. Kind of long, but kind of very important. So, Victoria ruled at this time. She believed in no makeup should be worn by women. It should be saved for prostitutes and actresses, which at that time weren't all that different. Surprisingly, she was only 16 when she came into power, and for a 16-year-old not to like makeup, kind of shocking. Similarities the Victorian era had to the Renaissance, where they still used a lot of dangerous products like belladonna, lead, and arsenic. It was highly dangerous but highly popular. Belladonna was still used to make their eyes wider and brighter, but they also had an alternative like citrus juice. They also used that if they didn't want to use belladonna, which I don't know if it was better, but it was an alternative. Women no longer used oil, but instead they used beeswax and soot for their eyelashes. But they would sometimes add gemstones to make their eyes pop more. It does not seem safe to me. And it wasn't. Women usually got gemstones in their eyes or beeswax, and it would burn, and it would kind of temporarily make them go blind, seemingly very painful. Women used a mixture of heated pitch, resin, and frankincense for defining their eyebrows to make them look thicker and darker. As a contrast to the Renaissance, no eyebrows or very light, thin eyebrows. For foundation, women used arsenic. And may I just add, women loved arsenic. Women also use lead as a concealer to hide their pockmarks. Moving back to why women loved arsenic, they believed arsenic had rejuvenating powers. It would make them look younger or feel younger. It had apparent beauty benefits to them, but I don't see them. Women use it in face wash, shampoos, and they ate it like a vitamin. And they also put it in their bath to clear their complexion and used to have brighter eyes. Kind of like belladonna, but they wouldn't apply it in their eyes. Boy, were they wrong that arsenic was lovely. In order for women to get the benefits of arsenic, if there were any, women would slowly increase their tolerance by eating it almost every day or little amounts and then growing larger. But if they stopped taking it after a while, they would die from withdrawal. Kind of like being addicted or an alcoholic. So that was great. For face cream, women used white wax. White wax was a part of a whale. It came from a whale's head when they died. Sounds very disgusting, 'cause it is. They also used white wax to remove their makeup, which actually worked. They would apply it to a cloth, wipe it clean off, and then wash their face, and they would be done. Shocking. Because women weren't supposed to wear makeup, they adapted, and so they kind of found hiding spots for their makeup. They would use secret compartments in their house, such as toilet boxes or pharmaceutical bottles without the labels, which were actually pretty smart. Moving on to fashion, women used whale bones to make corsets. Now, corsets were used and very popular in the Victorian era. Not as much. They kind of got introduced in the Renaissance, but it was late in the Renaissance. So, women adored the hourglass figure, but they took it to an extreme. They used very tight corsets, and it would displace their organs, and reduced their lung capacity by at least 20%. And they actually invented a certain couch for women because it was so often that they would faint from not getting enough oxygen. Kind of scary, actually. But another thing that helped women in their figure was flounces. Flounces were added in their dress to create a larger bottom half to compare to their tiny waist and upper half. Ball gowns in this time period were shorter so you could see the feet and part of the shins of the women. There were 3/4 length and bell-shaped ruffles at the top of a dress made for parties or lounging around the house, but off the shoulder was the most popular during this time period. For body figure, women adored the hourglass shape, big busts, big hips, and tiny, tiny waist. It took an all-time extreme with the waist. Now, wearing the corset reduced and displaced organs, and it's very dangerous because women sometimes could die from not enough oxygen around their body, or they could have heat strokes from it being too tight in the sun. As for hair, women loved updos, and I mean loved. The most popular was an updo with hair collected in the back with loops and braids in the upper part of the head. A style by Queen Victoria was centered parted updo with two pieces at the back of the head down that were curled. Because hair was so big during this time period, not literally, hot irons were introduced. Women would crimp their hair and then put it up in a loose bun to give it that messy bun effect, which was actually very popular, surprisingly. One more thing to mention about fashion, because it's kind of important. Bonnets were very popular, and they would vary in size and color, and they would sometimes have ornaments. But moving back to hair now. Gibson girl hairstyles were very, and I mean very popular. Anyone who was anyone wore one of these hairstyles. And those hairstyles included the chignon, a top bun, and a side knot. They sound very complex, or some of them do, but they were very, very simple. And a lot of these can be recreated at home by girls today, but girls today probably won't do that. The chignon hairstyle was similarly a simplistic ponytail or bottom bun, which is essentially your hair tied back in a knot at the back of your neck. That's literally all it is. Very simple, very easy, highly achievable in today's society. The second one was a top bun. It was a loose bun on the top of your head. Very simple and self-explanatory. I don't know what else to say to that about. For the psych knot, it's a little bit more similar to a normal bun today. It was a very high bun at the top of your head, but it would include braids or loops or twists or any type of little unique aspect of a braid you want to call thing. It was very popular and very, very, and I mean very hard and easy to do, because it would involve minor things or designs that were okay, but simple. You can make it simpler than it is. In conclusion, or basically now, that's all the information I have. The Victorian era and the Renaissance era were very similar in some aspects, but differed in a lot. And it was kind of intriguing to see how different and how similar it can be today. And it kind of intrigued me. So this is very fun to do. I enjoyed this very much. And if you want to look up any more information, you can look it up. I have two resources that helped me tremendously, and those were Hello Giggles and Bellatory.com. I very much understood all the information it gave me. It was easy to understand. It was set up well. I didn't have to struggle with anything, or it wasn't scholarly where it wasn't too complex to understand. And I think you could look this up for yourself, and you would be very intrigued of what you find as well. Hope you enjoyed my video. It was very fun to make this time. And I'll see you next time with the Edwardian period.